Hello, I'm Reggie Young. I'm here with Stacie Walker. Stacie, if you could take a quick minute to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you got started.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me on the podcast, Reggie. So, about myself, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm the founder of Unleash Your Ambition. And the thing that my company does is help people with coaching or consulting businesses basically build a low volume, high value business without experiencing overwhelm or burnout. And also so they can make 5-figure runs their new normal and do it in a way that's aligned with their mission, vision, and personality. And I've been an entrepreneur since 2008. So it's been quite a ride. And the space is just so different today than what it was when I first started. It's like so much easier now. Um, I guess because of the technology, just totally different ball game. I absolutely love what I do. I couldn't imagine doing anything else, especially since I was not raised around any entrepreneurs. I didn't even think it was an option for me before I began my entrepreneurial journey. I thought I was just supposed to get an education and find a career that you could stay at until you're retired and then do the fun things like old at an old age, which I just thought was just so weird. And then you die, and I never really was comfortable with it, but I didn't know any other way. So what I ended up doing, and it wasn't even on purpose, what ended up happening was I almost died back in 2007. At that time, my body became septic because I discovered at that time that I have a small liver, so it has to work harder in order to get rid of toxins, whether I consume them, touch them, breathe them. So my liver wasn't filtering out the toxins, so all the toxic stuff was staying in my body, and I didn't even realize this. I was walking around for weeks like that because I thought I would bounce back, but I never did. So what ended up happening is that my doctor was so mad at me. He said, "Why in the heck did you wait so long to come to the hospital?" And I told him, "Well, I thought that, I would be okay." But he said, "If I would have waited a few more days, I would be dead." He said, "You would be dead." So that really was a shock to me. So my option was to go home and stay on bed rest until I recovered or stay at the hospital. I wanted to be home because hospitals, I do not like them. It's not a comfortable space. I don't think anybody likes hospitals. I mean,
Yeah.
let's be real. So I thought it was only going to take like maybe a week to recover. Ended up being almost a year. So within that time, I depleted my savings. I had a retirement fund from the company that I worked for. I went just depleting all that. So I ended up getting to a point of desperation because I did not want to be put out of the house, out of my house. So I ended up researching online jobs. Mind you, this is 2008, completely
Oh,
different
wow.
world.
Yeah, you're early.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I couldn't find anything as far as an online job. What I kept on coming across was business opportunities. And I ended up just going for it because I was like, I have nothing to lose. I need to survive, not even thrive yet. I just need to survive and have the basic necessities. So that's where my journey started. I started working for a network marketing company selling healthcare benefits. It was something to supplement people's health insurance. Well, what I ended up doing, I was starting to teach people how to promote their network marketing company or whatever they were selling online. And this was like kind of unheard of back then. Matter of fact, my upline was discouraging me from doing it. They said that I would fail. They
Right.
said that I wouldn't make it. I wouldn't be successful. And that like made me so infuriated, Reggie, that I was like, I'm going to find a way to make this work because I cannot go out and network and go out, go out in the city that I lived in because I was recovering. So I ended up finally finding someone online that was a part of a network marketing company, but that's not really how they made their money. They made their money through educational products by helping people with marketing. So that's where I veered off into. And I went away, I shut the door in the network marketing company because I wanted my own company. Um, Network marketing companies are great to a point, but if you actually want to build something of your own, want to have control over it, you got to start your own LLC or corporation. So that's what I did. And that's what I've been doing since then. So it's been an incredible journey. I've been able to connect with so many people. I've been able to grow personally because I tell you, having a business is like one of the most confronting things that you could ever do when it comes to your personal growth. And, I've learned a lot about myself. I've acquired skill sets. I've met so many amazing people over the years, and I just cannot imagine doing anything else, especially when I basically wrote my own ticket to freedom. So that's about me. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. It's interesting because I think a lot of business owners, I got into business because of, I mean, I didn't almost die, but I was really, really depressed with what I
Mm,
was in life. And it was the pain for me that pushed me towards making money online. Then I discovered that, hey, I actually really like doing this. And
mhm,
then soon after that, I discovered, hey, it's probably not my tactic that is wrong. It's probably more my mindset. And then I really started looking inwards when I
mhm,
couldn't make the P&L work, when I couldn't make the business work. I had no choice but to look at what I was doing, and that's where that personal growth started to really come through. So I love that, it
mhm,
seems like a lot of the similar
mhm,
stories for other entrepreneurs out there is that personal growth really comes from business, but even for people who aren't maybe interested in business, sometimes that comes in the form of sports or
mhm.
arts and some type of creative aspect, something that pushes you to be better because you want to create that best product, that best output, whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Absolutely. So
Um, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm so glad that you decided to like do this, especially like being in that mind state, because I've been there before. Just where you're just not satisfied with what's going on with life. Like you know that there's something missing. Um, and you don't realize like what that thing is missing until you go within. And that just opens up a whole new world. And I think you just become, I guess, more conscious of like just not only like who you are, but also like what you're capable of creating in this
Yeah.
life. And I think that's like one of the most powerful things that anyone can do. You don't have to be an entrepreneur to do this. I think every single human on this planet can benefit from that,
Yeah. It's like,
especially. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like you said, like stepping out of your comfort zone. So
Hmm.
it's the moment you can step out of your comfort zone, whether it's being an entrepreneur or not, the amount
Hmm.
of people I still get from my old job that message me that are
Hmm.
making good money as officers in the military or whatever they're doing,
Hmm.
and they're still messaging me because I think deep down they're feeling what I felt, which is, hey, this probably isn't what I want to be doing for the rest of my life. This probably isn't in line with what maybe my destiny, what makes me most fulfilled. And now they're
Hmm.
starting to and go and pursue, an online income or whatever it is. And they found alignment through my story in the past, and we've connected. So I really think just stepping into the uncomfortable and not listening to, like you said, your upline was saying, hey, this probably isn't a good idea, right? Whatever system you're in is going to try and keep you in there. And the
Hmm.
people around you have adopted that system, which is why they're probably still there. So they're adopted to that mindset, whether they have both hands on the mindset or one hand on it. They are still part of, not to sound like matrixy, but they're still part of like the matrix in
Yeah.
whatever system that you're in. So you have to really be vulnerable, be willing to lose money, willing to go through emotional pain, willing to go through stress and long hours, um, and try and grow in that way. But one thing I found really interesting about your story is, before we hopped on the podcast, you had talked about how you've been able to work less but
Hmm.
make more. So if you could you kind of dive into your story behind that and some advice for other people out there?
Yeah. Well, this is huge because we're taught as a society you have to work hard to make more money. And I don't think anybody really thinks about that at all. Like it really doesn't make sense because there's plenty of people that I know of that have three jobs and they can barely put food on the table. And then I know of people that hardly work at all and they have an abundance of cash flow coming in. So what is missing there? I know that the traditional educational system is really indoctrinating us to be worker bees. And it's really just so much it's so obvious now. But back in 2000 14, 15, and 16, I was working my booty off. I was working at least 80 hours a week to create a 5-figure a month income. And I was also surrounded by people that were working about the same amount. And a lot of
Right.
these people did not have children. Like, I had a son. I still do have him. My oldest, he's 24 now, but everyone around me in that environment was working their asses off. And also, like, to the point to where they were causing physical harm to their bodies because of burning out their adrenal glands, not eating right, not exercising, none of those things. So being in that environment, I thought it was just the norm. I thought, oh, this is what I have to do in order to, make the income goal, because that's what I was going for. That was my focus at that time. Um, it's still my focus now, but it's not the most important thing. And here's why: is because finally in 2016, I looked in the mirror one day. I didn't even recognize myself. I had gained weight. I was consuming a lot of sugar. I'm gonna tell you something that's really, really, really embarrassing. But my desk, I would stay at my desk just about all day, and in my drawer, I had a stack drawer.
Right.
And I used to shop at Sam's Club. Are you familiar with Sam's?
Oh, yeah.
Like, where you
Yeah.
get, like, the economy
Yeah. Yeah.
stuff,
Buy
like
in
the
bulk.
big.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. The big
Okay,
cheese.
well, I would
Yeah.
go there once a month to buy a big bag of Dum-Dums,
Yeah.
the little candies that you see in doctor's offices.
Uh-huh.
I would eat those all day long, every day for months and months, and I wasn't active at all. And I'm the type of person, I love the great outdoors. I love to stay active. I love to do Pilates, yoga, hike. I love to do those things. Wasn't doing that anymore. Um, I was at home all the time, but I was not present with my family. I couldn't turn it off.
Mm.
When I looked in the mirror, I was like, what the heck am I doing? And also on top of that, Reggie, I was starting to feel that sickness that I started experiencing back when my body became septic. Luckily, that wasn't happening to me again. But what was happening is that I was experiencing not only burnout, but I was starting to do irreversible damage to my body. So I made the hardest decision ever because my family's important to me. My body's important to me, especially with what I went through. And I really had to take a look at, is this worth it? Like, what if I died 3 months from now or even tomorrow? Would I be happy with what I'm doing here? My answer was no. And it was a
For
quick no.
sure.
I didn't even have to think about it. And I made the decision to step away from my business. I did not give anyone any warnings. I still had affiliate money coming in. So I really didn't have to worry about that. But as far as people I work with, I just shut everything down, everything. Didn't even let anybody know, and stepped away from the online space. And I decided that I was going to take a year to get my mind, body, and spirit right. Because again, I didn't recognize myself. And plus, I knew that there was more digging I needed to do to figure out what would really make me happy, because what I was doing was not making me happy at all. And I was starting to destroy relationships with the people that I love the most. And most of all, I was destroying the relationship with myself. So a year, I gave myself that timeline. And that year ended. Right when the year ended, I ended up finding out that I was pregnant, after trying for 3 years, because I had several miscarriages over the years, and I know it absolutely had to do with the way that I was living and running myself to the ground. So I had to take another year off because my doctor basically said, "I know your history, so you either continue to do what you're doing, or you just relax and grow this baby and then go back to work."
Right.
And that was an easy decision, very easy. So,
Right.
before I came back to my business, I decided that I would never, ever work 80 hours a week again. Matter of fact, I made the commitment to work no more than 40 hours a week. So, in the beginning, because right now I only work 4 days a week and I take a month off, or not a month off, sorry, a week off every month. So when I came back to business, I decided I'm not going to burn myself out. So I need to set boundaries with myself. I need to invest in help, so I hired a VA, and it was the same person that worked with me before I took my break. And I also decided I did not want a lot of volume in my business, so I would have to make sure that my offers were packaged in a way to where I could make, my income goal, um, 6 figures without having to work with a lot of people. So I didn't know how to make that happen, but I knew that's what I wanted. So since 2017 up until now, I've just been working on tweaking and innovating a system that I created as far as when it comes to marketing and sales, because that's the thing that I nerd out on the most. I'm a geek with that stuff. I'm fascinated by it. So it's non-negotiable for me. So I started taking the weekends off. And then once I was consistent with that and was present with myself and my family, then I bumped it up to, okay, let me take a week off this month and see what happens. And it was not easy at all, at all. It was mostly mental, right? Because I put the systems in place to where I should have had no problem um, attracting my target audience and enrolling them into my offer. But it was mostly mental chatter that if I don't work more, I'm not going to hit my goal. Like this is something that kept on going on. And I had to like work through that, which was ridiculous. Like looking back, I just made things so much harder than what they needed to be. So I finally got a lock on that. And my non-negotiable is a week off every month and at least a weekend. I like to take Wednesdays off because it's the middle of a week. That gives me time to like just kind of breathe and rest. Now I only work 4 hours a day. So I had to build a foundation for my business to where I would have a marketing and sales process to attract my target audience, nurture them, and then enroll them. And it's a simple rinse and repeat system. So having this in place and also thinking from a place of I'm only working 20 hours a week. How can I double my income? How can I hit my income goal? So asking myself those questions allowed me to find the solutions to make it work. Again, it was not easy in the beginning, but now it's a heck of a lot easier. And the clients that I work with, they're able to hit their goals faster than what I ever did because I did all the dirty work,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's a non-negotiable. So no matter what's going on in my business, I'm not available a week out of that month. So if I have any clients who try to call me, which they don't, because I already set the boundaries in place right away when anyone works with me. That way there's no surprise. And I'm always reiterating that message. I'm always talking about it. I talk about it on my interviews. I talk about it on my podcast because it's a boundary. It's set. And if anybody tries to cross that boundary, I'll I stay firm on that because I know the way that I think. Like it'll be easy for me to go ahead. It could be easy for me to just go ahead and be like, you know what, I'll go ahead and answer that email. It's not a big deal. It only take 2 minutes. Or I'll take that call. Or I'll have a moment where somebody's interested in working with me, but I'm not able to get to them, which is why it's good to have somebody to help you with operating your business when you're away. So my assistant helps me in those areas, answers my emails. I'm not on social media, but I already like have posts that are already pre-made that can go up. So being able to work less has given me so much peace. It's helped me be a better coach, a better business owner, a better human just from doing that alone. It's just working less. And again, it took me a while to get there because it was mostly mental. I've worked with so many people who have been able just to like take the coaching and get results a lot quicker than I did. I guess I'm
Right.
stubborn or something. I don't know. But
Yeah, no, I love it. I think at the end of the day, it's all about asking yourself the right question. I've
yeah,
always said, at least when I look around at people who have reached some type of level of success or just
Mhm.
differently, they're always asking themselves questions. And I find that the ones that are stuck in their own cycle of where they're at in life, they never ask themselves questions to the point where I'll ask them a question, just a simple self-reflective question, or like, hey, what are your plans for this year or something? And it's just like, just work hard and and that type of lack of reflection really prevents you from slowing down, whether it's reducing the amount of work you're doing, to tap into your intuition or to tap into just to kind of come out of maybe out of fight or flight and just come into yourself and what you feel like you should be doing. So, I just an amazing story to be able to have maybe gone through that process, come all the way, within days of death, and then flip back the other way, truly slow down, which is probably very scary on top of it all, right? You have a family to provide for. It's not as easy as of just, hey, I'm just gonna work less and just figure it out type of thing. Like I'm sure that came with a lot of fear and a lot of courage. So I definitely applaud you on that. And I myself I find myself overworking sometimes. I overlap my addiction for business with not slowing down, and it comes at a cost too, right? Like you said, comes at the cost of presence and presence with yourself, presence with other people. That's something that I know I can be doing a lot better on. One thing you had mentioned before, you'd quickly mentioned adrenal burnout, and it's something I've been hearing a little bit more of the last few years, and I started really thinking back to it, and I didn't realize that a lot of Americans or a lot of people in general in their 30s, low 40s, or people who are working really, really hard think that they're gaining weight because they're just getting older. And I realized like the whole getting older narrative is complete like BS. It's normally overworked and adrenal burnout, and then on top of that, diet. But a lot of the times, like um, you could have a healthy diet and you wonder why you're not losing weight. It's sometimes it's that adrenal burnout. It's the pushing. It's the body keeps account at the end of the day, regardless of how we structure our day. And uh, sometimes it takes us a significant event to really get us to slow down. And so I'm very grateful that you were able to do that and then find a system that you can nerd out on and scale it and help other people. So if you could you maybe dive into a little bit about the system that you talked about and when it comes to marketing?
Yes, yes, absolutely. So my system, it's called the Attract, Engage, and Profit Framework. So what I discovered, just I like to research and stuff like that. One thing that I discovered a while back is that there are like five foundational pillars every successful business has, whether they're the small business owner to the large corporation. And the five foundational pillars are mindset, which would be the visionary behind the business. Plus, you need to have a specific mindset in order to successfully run a business, be a leader, build team, be able to communicate your message in a way that's actually going to land with the people that you want to help. The second pillar is awareness. So, obviously, it's hard for us to sell whatever we have to offer if we are not attracting the people that are a good fit. Not only attracting, but getting their attention first. So they need to be aware that what we have to offer can help them. And even in their early stages, they may not even know what you have to offer. They just are connecting with you. Maybe you shared a story, or maybe it's just how you communicate. It can come in all different forms. So the first thing is like getting that person's attention, and not anyone. It has to be the person who's the best fit for your product or service. So your message, what you share on social media or elsewhere is not going to resonate with everyone, and that's okay. So get their attention. Now that you got their attention, the next step is for them to like start consuming your content, whether that's an audio, video, the written word. And what you want to do after you've gotten their attention, the next step is to get them off of the social platforms, especially if that's where you spend a lot of your time attracting your best fit clients or customer. Get them off of those platforms as soon as possible after you've gotten their attention, because we don't own these social platforms,
Right.
right? We could get kicked. I always say it's like this. It's like you renting space on somebody else's land and you can like get evicted at any time. Or the owner can change your mind and say, yep, you can't live here anymore. There's nothing we can do about it. So instead of being fully dependent on this virtual real estate that we don't own, the next best step is to get those people off of there as soon as possible. I'm not saying that you can't still connect with them on social media. So you want to move them off of the platform and basically like through lead generation. So this is like you providing something of value that they can exchange for their email list. I mean, I'm sorry. Why did I even say that? It's something of value that you can exchange for their email address, not their email list. But so now that they are on your email list, you are building a database of potential clients or customers, which means that they basically raise their hand. They're saying, "Hey, I like what you're saying. I don't. I want to learn more. I'm curious about what who you are and what you do and how you help people." So not only do you connect with them on social media if they see your post, but also you're also in their inbox, right? And especially if they made the decision to join your email list. So now that you got them on the email list, the next part is positioning. So you're position yourself as the person who is competent enough to be able to help them get what they want. And this can consist of what you and I are doing right now. It could be you offering some type of training, and it could be free or a paid training. Also, you educating them on how you can help them. Another way to position yourself is I call it credibility boosters, like testimonials, case studies, you collaborating and forming strategic partnerships with other entrepreneurs inside and outside of your niche. Because I always have a saying, it's birds of a feather flock together. You see this everywhere. Any successful personal development gurus that you see, they're always collaborating with each other. Um, Even big companies are collaborating with other companies. So we should be doing this also in our businesses, especially during the early stages. But this is applies no matter at what stage you're in, because it allows you to not only expand your visibility, but continue to reach people that you may have not been able to reach without the strategic partnerships. And then the next thing is, excuse me. Next thing is, okay, you've nurtured these people. They're able to see that you're competent enough to help them get what they want, and whatever results that they want. Next step is to enroll them in whatever you have to offer. And this consists of sales campaigns. This can consist of you offering calls or not. I have some people that don't even do sales calls at all. They enroll people through application only or through the training that they're doing in the positioning part of the framework. So it can come in many different forms, just really depends on how you like to enroll people into your offer. But the thing is, we have to actively sell and passively sell. So basically, that's the framework in a nutshell. And it's the foundation that's needed, because a lot of there's so much information, Reggie, on this everywhere about how to attract clients or customers,
Yeah.
emails, lead bags. It's all over the place. So anyone coming into this that's not new, that's not creating consistent income, not established, it can be confusing. So what I've done, instead of them searching far and wide of like how to get this done, it's like, let me create a framework to where they have everything in one place and it all makes sense. And it's the foundational things that are needed no matter what business you have. And that's how people are usually able to save their time and their sanity and not having to focus on things that might not be relevant to their business yet, especially with the wealth of information out there. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
There's definitely a ton of noise
yeah.
out there, and there's more noise every day. And
Hmm.
completely agree with you that when somebody first joins any kind of how to sell online world,
Yeah.
they are bombarded with free everything, paid everything, paid everything. And all of it is overwhelming. Do I do a 5-day challenge? Do I do a constant webinar? Do I do a giveaway? Do I run Google ads, Amazon ads,
Yeah.
Facebook ads? Do I do an influencer? Do I open a store? Like all these different things, right? And they're like, well, I got to test it all or just not give up. But
Mhm.
the crazy reality is, I have helped so many people from the smallest, who never started an entrepreneur, all the way up
Mhm.
to multi-million-dollar brands. And
Mhm.
more than half of them, more than half of them do not have a foundation. They don't
Right.
have the basic funnel of awareness, social media, to
Mhm.
lead generation, to follow up and make sure you're speaking and you're getting a focused audience. It sounds really basic when we talk about it, but
Yeah.
a lot of people just get lost in it. One, they don't know.
Mhm.
Ones that do know, they have like the shiny object syndrome.
Mm.
They're kind of just chasing all over the place. So I think having, like what you said, is a framework that people can use and kind of plug and play. And then from
Mhm.
your framework, you're able to, whenever you see that new cool marketing tactic or that new idea, if it's plugged into that framework and that framework or its
Mhm.
foundation, then the way I see it is the energy is conserved. But what I feel like a lot of people do is we come up with these like ad hoc one-off
Mm.
type of
Mhm.
campaigns. The links don't really work all that well. Like it's only becoming more and more competitive, you could say, in most niches. So you have to you have to get the fundamentals right. And thankfully, a
Yeah.
lot of people don't have those fundamentals right. But if you get the fundamentals right from the
Yeah.
beginning, continually push on them, you're gonna get, instead of getting a 1x result over time, you get a 1.5, 2x, 3x,
Mhm.
right? So build like your referral program. Well, if it's already plugged into your free funnel, well now every you basically get double or triple your opt-in or your
Mhm.
back by just making sure you absolutely have that foundation. So I definitely agree with you that it's super important. And most businesses, most brands, just they just don't do it, which is
Right.
great for us
Right.
marketers to help them out. But
I know, right? And it's so basic, but if what you don't know, you don't know. Because I experienced the same thing, the shiny object syndrome, trying this thing and that thing, and if it didn't work, I'd move on to the next thing. So with the framework, the most important thing, though, before you even start messing with the marketing and sales, is you need to be clear on your ultimate vision, not only for your business, but your life, because both of those things need to be aligned in order for the framework to actually work. Um, so I not only have the mindset, the vision, but also the marketing and sales. So that's essentially what the framework is. And the biggest thing that I teach is keeping it simple. Like, don't get distracted by these other things because yes, they work, but it might not work for you. Or I always have my clients, they do a 90-day plan of, how they're going to attract, nurture, and enroll their clients. And they need to work that plan and stick to it. And also have, stay dedicated to their time off because that's plugged in it to it too. And after that 90-day period, you got to take a look at what worked, what didn't work, what you liked, what you didn't like, and then think about how can you do things differently the next time around, and then run it again that next
yeah,
90-day period, and just keep on doing that and
yes,
keep on doing that because that right there, just doing that and doing the same things will help you get your goal faster. A lot of us, we want instant gratification. I still do. I can't
yeah,
help it, but I know where I get the best results is if I just stick to my plan. Another part in this of take the other benefit of taking time off, you have space to think.
exactly.
That means everything to me because when I have space to think, ideas pop up. And I'm not even trying to like problem solve at that time. I could be relaxing. I could be hiking in the woods. I could be camping somewhere. And the idea just pops up out of nowhere. It's because I've been able to remove some of that friction of being so laser focused on getting the result. So taking that time off to think is absolutely crucial to getting results faster, keeping things simple, and really just taking a look at like, is what I'm doing, like, is it really aligned with my vision? If it isn't, you got to remove it immediately, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Yeah.
and that brings me back to, I think I had mentioned this on my previous podcast, but when I went to the Air Force Academy, it was like a big thing for me to go, like
Hmm.
where I come from, my educational background, how lazy I was as a kid. it was like a big deal for me to go. And when the last day that I left, my dad had printed off like this thing about setting goals. And I
Mm.
just thought it was ridiculous because nobody in my school sets goals, and we never really talked about that growing
Mhm.
up. But I remember printing it off, and like I remember setting goals, and each one of the goals that I wrote down, it's weird, I achieved them, or I could have, and then decided to pivot a different way. But I built so many things up and manifested so many things up by writing it down, by slowing
Mhm.
by tying in both my business goals and my vision and my personal goals and my career goals and turning them into one. Because at the moment we try and separate the two, we're just going to cause stress, which is going to cause coping. And we all cope in different ways, whether it's food,
Mhm.
alcohol, ego, laziness. Everybody
Mhm.
world is coping out there. So we all have
Yeah.
our version of coping.
Yeah.
When we bring the two together and we're honest and we slow down and we take the time,
Mhm.
then we can really truly start to build out the life that we want, and then take
Mhm.
that into an iterative reflection mindset is what I call it. Um,
Mhm.
a military training, we have like this one general that came up with this one crazy strategic warp thinking thing, and it was called the OODA loop, which is just the same thing.
Mhm.
Observe, orient, decide, and act. You just look around at your surroundings, you observe what can you do better, you decide to do better, you act, and then you do it again. It's that constant iterative reflection, however you want to call it.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I think it's super important. And yet we just started right 2023. Uh,
Mhm.
People who listen to my podcast already know this. I think this is a perfect time
Mhm.
to plug my little journal here. But we all have to, it's just another framework, right? We all have our frameworks of breaking down vision into goals, goals into action, reflecting both in our business and in our personal life, looking at the data, looking at how we feel, slowing down and just doing better and better and better, regardless of if we had a bad day or a really great. So, um, so with that, Stacie, I was checking out your website before we hopped on the call. Absolutely love the offer you have there, especially your free offer. If
Mhm.
anyone is interested in reaching out to you, learning more about your system, how can they get in contact with
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing that journal before I share it, because that writing things down is powerful. It doesn't seem like it is. It seems like just too simple, but it can literally change your life, like in a major way. But anyone who wants to connect with me as far as social media, I'm on Instagram. If you don't want to use Instagram, I'm on YouTube, Unleash Your Ambition. And or you can go to unleashyourambition.com and you can definitely connect with me there. You can fill out the contact form, or there's icons at the top of the website if you want to connect with me on any of the social platforms.
Excellent. I love the
Mhm.
way you did that. You offered 2 different versions. You use like, "Hey,
Mhm.
connect on social media," which is top of the funnel, or
Yeah.
connect or down, right, depending on what you wanna do. And this is advice that I started doing when I was trying to find people to follow, people I resonated with. Anytime I find a conversation or somebody that I like or I resonate with, I at
Mhm.
a minimum will subscribe to their social media,
Mhm. Mhm.
s- to their free opt-in, right? So I think everyone who's interested should do the same. And at one point when I first started, I was like, I don't want a bunch of spam, or I don't want this to cloud up my following page or whatnot. So what I
Mhm.
did personally is I opened up a whole nother account. I
Yeah.
actually clicked
Yeah.
to subscribe to all these things, and I would look at it when I wanted to. And then the ones that I felt like were a little bit closer or I resonate with more strongly, I would
Mhm.
also follow on a separate account. So definitely, there everybody gives away free advice, and we always give away, of course, more advanced premium advice to help people who are ready to move to that next level. So if anyone's interested, please reach out to Stacie. And Stacie, thank you so much for coming on the show,
Yeah.
sharing your story. Congratulations on all your success.
Thank
And
you. Congratulations to your success. You're amazing. And I really resonated with you because, you have a military background. So I'm a military brat. So, so yeah. So thank you for the work that you do. You're amazing.
thank you, and to military families as well. Everyone
Yeah.
puts so
Mhm.
big touch. Take care.
All right. You too.
Take care.